You are listening to Mining Stock Education.
So there are a lot of issues in Mexico, yes, but you have to take them on a state-by-state area, jurisdiction by jurisdiction basis. You'll be leaving a lot of money on the table, I think, if you just look at Mexico and say, look, I want to get out of Mexico because of all the headlines. It's bad. I'm going to sell now and ask questions later. I don't think that's the way to approach it.
Thanks for tuning in to Mining Stock Education. In today's show, you'll hear from our friend, Dr. David Erfle from Junior Miner Junkie with a Y.com. Dave, thank you for showing up for your monthly check-in on the show. $5,200 gold, $87 per ounce silver. What's your current commentary on the precious metals?
Yeah, it's thanks again for having me on. Always great speaking with you. Yeah, it's, chaos and uncertainty continues, and gold is loving every minute of it. I mean, you look on what happened last week with U.S. Economic data that was released on Friday. I mean, it showed that U.S. GDP, Q4 GDP, increased at just 1.4% annually. And that was really was significantly weaker than that was expected. And at the same time, the PCE inflation remains a full percentage point above the Fed's fantasy 2% target. And then at the same time, you got a weakening jobs market, and that is laying the groundwork for continued stagflation, and that's a healthy environment for gold and silver. And then you got the geopolitical front of what's happening in Iran, and the talks breaking down with Russia and Ukraine in like a couple hours, and the Trump tariffs being overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. I mean, gold is loving all this. So, the gold price, it just keeps going up and it gets overbought. And then it has these consolidation periods that are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. They're basically bullish symmetrical triangle patterns. And this one is huge, right? I mean, we had the gold price and the silver price basically go parabolic, right? And gold corrected 21% in less than a week. And silver blew through $50 an ounce, that 45-year resistance, right? That it couldn't get above for 45 years. And then it zoomed to $121 an ounce, and then it corrected $50 within a week or so. So extreme volatility, but at the same time, the miners are pretty much yawning at the volatility because they're still undervalued and extremely underowned. And so they continue to show relative strength. I mean, the gold price is corrected 21%, silver price is corrected 47%, but the miners have only corrected about 21% since the end of January, when we had that parabolic peak in gold and silver. And weakness continues to be bought because the sector is ridiculously underowned. I mean, it's really incredible what's happening because, investors in this sector, they've been groomed and to expect these big huge drawdowns in the mining sector, just when they get into them, they have these big huge massive sell-offs, and they lament to themselves that, hey, I got in too late, and it looks like I got to get out because this consolidation is going to last a long time, and who knows where it's going to go, yada, yada, yada. But now we're in a bull market. So it's a buy and hold bull market, right? And you can't look at these charts and say to yourself, wow, look at this stock. It's gone up 6-7 times. And I missed the move. And I better not chase here. Well, you don't look at it that way. You look at the valuation of the company, right? I mean, what is it valued based on the price of gold? What is it valued versus other peers? Because a lot of these companies, these juniors especially, they're still trading at $5, $6, $7 silver in the ground and $60, $75 gold in the ground, or even less. So it's still a wonderful time to get into the sector, but you still have to be extremely choosy, right? Because eventually we will have that big, huge correction. And when the tide goes out, then you're gonna know which juniors are swimming naked, meaning which ones are lifestyle companies and the ones that you shouldn't own.
Are you going down the food chain, getting into the little more risky exploration stocks yet?
Yes, the ones that I have been recommending recently, most of them, yes, because we know we've done really well with these late stage companies. We have all these profits. So we're rotating some of those profits into higher risk juniors, because you look at some of these stocks, like I said, they've gone up so much. Sure, I still see a lot of upside in them, but I don't see the 10 bagger potential anymore, right? I mean, they've already gone up 6, 7, 8 times. So those maybe have 2 or 3 times upside now. So the stocks that have the bigger upside are the more risky ones, the earlier stage companies, the companies that are still, they've yet to put out a maiden resource, or they just recently put out a maiden resource, so they've yet to put out a PEA. So these companies are trying to become the next takeover candidates. And those are the companies that you got to find. And it's getting harder and harder because, at this time last year, you couldn't sling a dead cat without hitting, a quality junior with a 10 times upside potential. They were everywhere, but now they're fewer and farther between. You got to find them. You got to really do your due diligence and look for them.
I remember in a previous interview, I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago, Dave, we've talked so many times it all blends together, but you said the risk was to the upside in the junior gold stocks. Yes. Can you still say the risk is to the upside relative to the downside?
Absolutely, but you have to be choosy, right? I mean, you can't just throw a dart anymore at the dartboard and say to yourself, okay, that's a junior that's going to go up 10 times from here. Right. I mean, sure, you're still going to do well if you invest in a quality junior here that's maybe gone up 6, 7, 8, 10 times already. But the upside is not as much as in the higher risk juniors in the earlier stage. But there, you just have to be careful because you want to be holding the right companies, especially when there finally is a decent correction. Because now we're having these corrections and they're not lasting long. They're not giving investors that much of an opportunity to get in because the weakness is being bought really quickly.
So junior mining stocks, as you noted, are not without risks. One of those risks that you experienced in your portfolio was in Vizsla Silver. The cartel in Sinaloa, Mexico, kidnapped some of their workers, executed them, and the stock has been pummeled since then. What's your commentary here, Dave?
Yes, I mean, very unfortunate situation, heartbreaking situation. I mean, these are hardworking people, with families that took a job at this site, and 10 people were abducted. They were engineers, and 5 have now been found dead, and they can't find the other 5, and it's assumed that they're probably dead. It's just heartbreaking. And we've been in this company since 2022. I went down to Panuco for a site visit, and at that time, there really wasn't any evidence of cartel situation down there, of a dangerous situation down there. I mean, the fact of the matter is the Sinaloa cartel is the most powerful and most dangerous cartel in the country. I mean, but you can't paint Mexico with a broad brush stroke of all these companies are at risk of cartel operations or what have you. You have to take them by a case basis. And we always knew that, I mentioned in my report on the company that the risk was always there. So as soon as that stock tripled, I made sure to take my investment capital off the table in the form of some nice profits. And I was hoping my subscribers did the same, since my service offers a piggyback service, right? They pretty much do what I do, because they follow my actions in my portfolio closely. So we did that, and then once the situation was revealed to the market, and by the way, it was revealed to the market, I think 5 or 6 days after it actually took place. The abduction took place on the 23rd, and Vizsla didn't notify the market until like the 28th or 29th. I warned my subscribers about the situation and said that I was going to hold my shares for now to see what would happen. And as soon as it was reported that some of them were found dead, that was it. I got out of the stock and and informed my subscribers that I was getting out. And now there's a lot of rumors floating around. I don't want to comment on any rumors, but the fact of the matter is, it's a very dangerous area that they're operating in, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I mean, it's warring cartels happening there. It's two fractions warring against each other, and now the Mexican authorities are investigating whether the company did give some payola to the cartels. So if that comes out that they did that, that's not very good for the company either. So I just said to myself that, hey, you're not the only one invested in this stock. Your subscribers are also. So it's best for us to just get out. We did really well with the stock. But the project, I mean, it goes without saying, it's basically in a class by itself. It's an incredible project, and the district potential there is just incredible. But it's in a major cartel country, so I just said, I said, look, I'm getting out of this, and I think it's just best to put the money into something else and take our profits and say thank you very much, Mr. Market, and let this play out without us.
So you were willing to take on jurisdictional risk because of the geological superiority of the deposit you were working with.
Yeah. Yes, and at the time, like I said, I was on that site visit, and I didn't feel any danger at any time. Mm-hmm. But then I could also tell you that I had talked to somebody else that went on a more recent site visit, and that wasn't the case. Mm-hmm. It was a more dangerous situation.
And that was before the announcement that you got that intel?
Yes, it was. It was before that announcement.
And that was from a person you trusted?
Yes.
So I guess the reflective question is then, should you have taken some money off the table based on that intel through your network? Looking back, I mean, hindsight's 2020.
I probably should have taken more off. I think it was about the time I took the 1/3 off is when I got that information.
Okay,
that's what and that was because I basically have a general rule. If the stock triples, I'll generally take 1/3 off the table. But in the case of Vizsla, it was such a fantastic project. I was at the time I was willing to let it go a little higher, but then I got that information, and I basically, okay, it's time to take 1/3 off the table. Let's take 1/3 off here.
And does this cause you to reflect upon any other Mexican silver companies you have or might invest in?
I have a couple, I'm a couple more. I'm in close contact with management, and they're not in dangerous areas. So that is not really, is not really something that concerns me in these projects, in these areas, because you have to take, like I said, you have to take it by a case in a state by state basis. There was a situation with Torex, back in 2015, where the Torex mine, there was 15 police officers killed, I think, or something. And it was a really bad situation, but the military came in and protected the mine, and there hasn't been any problems ever since. So there's other places I won't go either. I mean, there's another company on my watch list, and the company's done a great job. This company is Heliostar. All right. And they've acquired some mines for some cash flow because their flagship project is called Ana Paula. But Ana Paula is in a very dangerous district, the Guerrero Gold Belt. I mean, this is an area where there's been a lot of beheadings, right, in the Guerrero Gold Belt. And I don't want to talk. I'm not talking disparagingly about the company. I mean, the CEO has done a great job putting together, a fantastic company with cash flow to help with lower the dilution of de-risking Ana Paula. But the fact of the matter is that project's been kicked around by several juniors for a reason. It's a fantastic project. The numbers are fantastic, but it's in a very dangerous jurisdiction, which is the Guerrero Gold Belt. So, as far as Mexico is concerned, if you take a look at any of the companies operating in Mexico right now, I mean, in Sinaloa right now, they're being hit. Not only Vizsla, but other companies that are de-risking projects in that area. So any company that's operating in center lower right now is probably going to be, have some heavy pressure on the stock. There was a Jalisco State head of a cartel that was just killed over the weekend by the Mexican military. And there's another company that I own, Go Gold Resources. They operate in Jalisco State. So that stock is getting hit a little bit today, even though the silver price is up over $4. And that's the reason for that. But in the area that they're in, it's very safe. And this is a good, as far as the cartel situation is concerned, it's a good thing. It's showing that the military is starting to get a handle on it. Investors see the headlines. They see Jalisco State cartel, Go Gold's in Jalisco State. So you could look at it one of two ways. You could look at it as a buying opportunity if you believe, like I do, that the company is about to get their permit for their Los Ricos project. They've got $250 million cash. They've got enough cash to build the project. They don't need to take on any debt. They've made all these inroads that they're going to build the mine. They should be getting the permit soon, but it's been delayed, like a lot of the other permits in Mexico have been delayed. So there are a lot of issues in Mexico, yes, but you have to take them on a state by state area, jurisdiction by jurisdiction basis. You'll be leaving a lot of money on the table, I think, if you just look at Mexico and say, look, I want to get out of Mexico because of all the headlines. It's bad. I'm going to sell now and ask questions later. I don't think that's the way to approach it. But it's all depends on you and your tolerance for risk, of course.
So you're going to the PDAC, as am I, this coming weekend and week in Toronto, the largest early stage junior mining conference in Canada. Are you going to go to the Mexican contingency jurisdictional?
If I have the time to do that, yes. And if I'm not able to, I'm going to talk to as many people as I can that operate there and get their views on it. Yeah, it's something I want to delve into, because right now I've just gotten intel from colleagues that I know that I trust their insights, that they've operated in Mexico for decades, and I trust their intel. But I want to get as many opinions as I possibly can, of course, because it's not just my money; it's my subscribers that are invested in these stocks that I'm invested in also. So I want to get some more intel for sure.
Okay. At PDAC, you said there's gems out there, but you got to dig a little deeper. So how are you going to be looking when you're in PDAC? There's a lot of companies at the conference.
There is. Well, there's a fantastic program that was started at Beaver Creek, the one-on-one program, and it's the same company that operates that program, and it's a really well-run program. So I have a lot of meetings set up, one-on-one meetings set up with companies on my watch list that are earlier stage that I like. So I have a list. I'm invested in 22 companies in my newsletter, and I have another 20 companies that I've semi-vetted that are ready to replace other companies or they're ready to add to my portfolio at the time I have more money. And right now I have some cash. I have enough cash to take entry positions in 2 earlier stage, higher risk companies. And I've got several that I'll be speaking with at PDAC. I have one-on-one meetings at PDAC set up.
Excellent. JMJ sentiment, your newsletter sentiment, how is that doing, Dave, as gold is still holding up there at 5,200 an ounce?
I'm blessed and happy to say that the service has been filled up. I now have 500 members, and there's now a waiting list. And I had 10 spaces available that I alerted the people on the waiting list over the weekend, and they filled up pretty quickly. So it's fantastic. I have wonderful subscribers, and it's just a testament to people that are coming into the sector and they realize that, hey, I see the opportunity here, but I think I need some help, and I want to make sure I get into the right companies.
Excellent. Well, Dave, thank you for this update. safe travels from California to Toronto. And one last thing, because we ended last month with your Drake May jersey on. Your Patriots lost. What's your assessment of the Super Bowl loss by your Patriots?
Oh man, the magic ran out. Yeah, on our young quarterback. I mean, he did such a great job getting us there, and then he kind of looked like a deer in the headlights during the game. His offensive line kind of did him in, but I think it was a lot to do with his nervousness and didn't move much in the pocket. And I think he held the ball too long a few times, but just getting there was basically, a big win for Patriots fans, because we did, after back-to-back 4-13 seasons, we were just happy to get in the playoffs, and then the Super Bowl was just a bonus. So the good news is, though, that Drake May's only 23, and it looks like he's got a bright future, and the team looks like it's going to try to build another dynasty here with another fantastic head coach. So hopefully, we get him again next year, and we get there again next year and see what happens.
Excellent. Well, thank you for your insights today, Dave.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having me on, Bill. It's always great to talk to you.